Salutations everybody, it is Matty here today, and we're finally catching up on Developer Direct. Now, the great thing about being late to this news is so many rumors have swirled and we've gotten additional details on what's going on with this Developer Direct that it's actually a good time to really sit down and talk about it now as we're very close to the actual reveal of a potentially brand new game. It's really about format and how Xbox has chosen to unveil this year's Developer Direct. You go back to the first ever one, and that's where we got Redfall, Forza Motorsport, Minecraft Legends, and Elder Scrolls Online. I remember seeing that and going, okay, this is really about what's the format for a yearly Xbox show at the top of the year. What's that kind of looking like? And the surprise was Hi-Fi Rush, which is arguably the best Xbox game we've seen this generation and in potentially multiple generations. But point being is that was the format. There's going to be this mysterious fifth game. And the question was going into 24, is Xbox going to set up shadow drops of any kind? Will there always be a fifth game shown off? And so in 24, we got Avowed, Our History Untold, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, as well as Hellblade 2, with the mysterious fifth game breaking the mold in a new, interesting way. This time, it was Square Enix showing up with visions of Mana. And there was no Game Pass deal, exclusivity deal, nothing like that. It was just Xbox putting more eyes on a JRPG because we saw before that Xbox and Square Enix were growing closer, and Square Enix wanted to go more multi-platform. Fast forward to the reveal of this year's Developer Direct, where we get a confirmation of South of Midnight, Doom the Dark Ages, we have Clair Obscur 33 Expedition, and then there's a mysterious fourth game, and we don't really know if there's going to be a mysterious fifth game, but they're changing the formula ever so slightly, where right now the rumors are circulating about the mysterious fourth game, and there's a lot of candidates, if there is a fifth game, for what that fifth game is. But it's interesting to see them hiding it away deliberately, meaning that there could be multiple brand new game reveals here. We'll talk about it, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot of rumors to get into. Once again, thanks to Nate the Hate and Jez Corden, who have been teaming up and just leaking a lot of stuff for Xbox lately. So if you're new here and you're into what's going on with Xbox, whether it be their unfortunately depleting hardware or their seemingly very exciting software, you're in the right place. Consider subscribing. Let's start off simply at the basics. What is Xbox saying about this Developer Direct? They say that this is presented by the game creators themselves to offer an in-depth look at upcoming titles with how they're being created and who's making them. So they say they'll visit Compulsion Games in Montreal, Canada to learn more about South of Midnight, head to Montpellier, France to see Sandfall Interactive for a look at Clair Obscur Expedition 33, stop by the legendary id Studios in Richardson, Texas to check in on Doom the Dark Ages, and visit a surprise location to see another studio's brand new game. This will air on January 23rd in your respective time zones, equal to 1 p.m. Eastern time. Now again, rumors picked up really quickly. First one was Jez Corden, who said that this Xbox Developer Direct might be a lot bigger than Microsoft is letting on. Now the question was, again, what's mystery game number 4? Everyone's heads went to Oblivion Remake, which Jez then followed up saying, I don't think Oblivion is there, but I could be wrong. Now, the reason Oblivion's picking up is not just because of the recent rumors that we covered. We have a full video detailing that if you want to check it out, but also because there's separate Bethesda rumors that have been picking up. For example, listings for an unannounced Bethesda game for Series X, PS5, and Nintendo Switch have been found on a retailer's website. They say amongst the digging for more Switch 2 stuff, these listings were found. They all end with 11 and they are for the same title. Some are saying this might be for the Developer Direct, but when you look at this website, here is the listing. It's there, it's legit, it's real. And where people have gone to is Oblivion Remake, but where I think it might be, and I don't think it'll show up here at the Developer Direct. I actually don't know when it might show up. QuakeCon would make the most sense for me, but Doom 64 got an updated rating over on ESRB, as you can see here, and this would make a lot of sense as we're seeing continuous re-releases of older Doom games, older Quake games, of course. So this kind of fits the mold of what like studios such as Night Dive, Machine Games was helping out in particular in one area are doing. So I feel like this could definitely be it. But again, there's a lot of smoke around this Oblivion remake. Timur222, great dude, actually was digging into LinkedIn profiles. That's his specialty. And it was here we learned once more that Virtuos is working on some sort of Unreal 5, PS5, Xbox Series X, PC remake. The platforms lineup, is it the same one there? it's anybody's guess. But we go back to Nate the Hate, right? Again, we're trying to narrow down what is mystery game number 4 before I give my thoughts on the rest of the slate here. He says that South of Midnight is due in April, Doom the Dark Ages is due in May, and Oblivion Remake is slated for June but won't be announced for a few months. This is actually contradicting a report that we covered late in December where Ecstasis, an Xbox insider, was suggesting that this was the month we would get an Oblivion Remake announcement. The question I really have is how close, if we have Oblivion Remake coming out in June, how close do they want to keep that announcement and reveal? We know the Todd Howard philosophy, over and over I've said it, that he likes to keep the announcement in the release as close as humanly possible. And the closest we've really ever seen it is like 5 months with Fallout 4. Are they going to, because Oblivion is a thing that's a known quantity, it doesn't really have to market itself, it's Elder Scrolls, are they going to narrow that gap and like announce it in March or something like that? I don't know. It'd be very interesting to see what they end up doing here with Oblivion Remake and its announcement timing, because if not the developer direct, then I'm like, when until the Xbox Summer Showcase, which is in June, and that moment has already passed. So is this a mysterious 5th game? But again, they talk about traveling to all these different locations. Do you go to Virtuo Studios for that Oblivion Remake? I'm up in the air on it, but we do have some information on game number 4. So it says here, according to Windows Central's Jez Corden, Microsoft will still have some Xbox exclusives to reveal this year too, even if some of them are at least timed exclusives. They have Xbox Developer Direct with Doom the Dark Ages, South of Midnight, and Clair Obscur Expedition 33. There's also a mysterious 4th game, and I won't spoil what it is, but our sources indicate that it is a new entry in a legendary Japanese IP, which has decades of history and should make a lot of fans happy. Indeed, Microsoft has won some strong support from the region lately, from studios like Square Enix for Final Fantasy, Hoyoverse for Genshin Impact, and Sega/Atlas for Persona, and we suspect this new game will help further that trend. So this is the fun part. Okay, legendary Japanese IP. What could that be? My head immediately goes to Resident Evil. I'm thinking of Resident Evil 9. That has been rumored for a while. Only reason I kind of balk on that one is I do think a bit about what Capcom has slated coming up. Like, you have Monster Hunter Wilds. Like, it's not time to start marketing a new Resident Evil game, in my opinion. Also, historically, that's been on a PlayStation stage, like a State of Play or something like that. So I don't know if this would actually be a match, but that is a Japanese studio, a legendary Japanese developed IP, getting a new entry. I think that could be a big deal. Final Fantasy and new entry don't really go hand in hand right now. I think it's too soon after Final Fantasy 16, so I don't know if this is Square Enix. I've seen speculation that this is Persona 6. Here's why also, word of the video, bulk on that one, is I think it's time, if you're looking at Persona 5 to 6, it's time for Persona 6. It's time to learn about it this year. But to me, this is a summer showcase pick. That's where Atlas typically shows up for Xbox. I think that's where they get a lot of eyes on their product in a multi-platform sense. So I feel like, again, Persona 6 should get revealed this year, but I feel like if you're just off of Metaphor, which quickly surpassed 1 million copies sold, you'd want to invest a little bit of additional marketing into that before you move people along to the next big social style game, the next big 100+ hour JRPG in Persona 6. Like, I feel there has to be a level of holding back, especially if Sega is also trying to launch a new Yakuza game, but I don't know, they launched at the top of last year, a new Yakuza game and a Persona game. They're crazy. Sega's cracked right now, so it could be them. It could be Persona. But another one I was thinking of that is a little bit off the board, but we do have some kind of rumors and reporting to back it up, is Ninja Gaiden. Noisy Pixel reports that Koei Tecmo's newly established AAA studio plans a 2025 game debut. It says in this article, the general goal is to produce AAA games more consistently, with 3 being roughly 5,000 staff, illustrating a lofty sense of scale, and consistency is that it intends to develop AAA games more consistently, focusing on maintaining high production values and regular output. But they are planning a reveal, and this is important because this is the same dude who produced Nioh, Rise of the Ronin, Ninja Gaiden, Dead or Alive. So it could be any one of those last 2. It could be Dead or Alive. It could be Ninja Gaiden, but I just wanted to throw that one into the mix there. My head goes a million ways, but I feel like it's either whatever Koei Tecmo is working on. I think that would be interesting. And if it's a legendary IP, I feel like Xbox Heritage, Ninja Gaiden, these go hand in hand. That would make me really excited. I love that series. so much. I've replayed each of those games multiple times. Like, it's so good. So if you haven't played them, even nowadays, totally worth it. Especially Ninja Gaiden 2 is just so amazing action game. Strong Sekiro vibes if you're interested in that sort of thing. But I think this could be the team that reveals their next new game. But that leaves the lingering question of if there is a secret 5th game then, or is it just a secret 4th game? Because again, if you go to first party, this could easily be Double Fine, who's been secretly working on something for a while now. And I feel like it's been enough time since Psychonauts 2 for them to show up. It was, you know, August of this year, 4 years since Psychonauts 2 came out. And I feel like with all of Xbox's backing and the amount of staff that Double Fine has, might be time for them. So that was another prediction of mine. But I want to start off with Doom the Dark Ages. This game, like, pretty much a guaranteed banger. You know, like, that is just like, there's no, I can't conceive a world where this game just fails. Like, I loved Doom 2016, but I thought it had like a problem with progression and sort of how they handled giving you weapons. By the end of the game, it was a little bit boring, which I hate to use that word, but if you go from Doom 2016 to Eternal, you'll know the difference. It's huge. It's tremendous. Doom Eternal is like one of the best first-person shooters ever. Incredible campaign, really meaty, great collectibles, great side content, an amazing weapon wheel, tons of combos, tons of enemy diversity. The post-launch support was excellent. Like, this is the Doom game, in my opinion. So to top that is going to be difficult. But when I see you're riding dragons, it's a prequel. I see a shield on his arm. I see that they're kind of going this more, they define this game as a monster truck versus Doom Eternal, which was a race car. And I'm like, dude, sign me up. So I know this game's going to excite me a ton. And especially after the DLC, it feels like Doom the Dark Ages should be due in the first half of this year, like it's been leaked. But the game I'm most excited about in this showing is Clair Obscura Expedition 33, because we really haven't gotten this style of game since Final Fantasy 13, which I'm a defender of. And by that, I mean high fidelity, yet also kind of turn-based. Like, because some people will go immediately, well, what about Final Fantasy 16? Like, oh, that's a JRPG with high fidelity, but that's like action game. I'm talking about like Final Fantasy 13 still looks incredible to this day. Particularly, by the way, if you're wondering, I love 13 too. It's top 5 Final Fantasy game for me. I love that game. But these games are beautiful, beautiful. And they're also kind of turn-based. We really haven't seen that melding before in a while, but you see that. You, of course, see the Persona inspiration. I remember when this game was first revealed, I actually groaned because I went like, oh, you can smell the Unreal Engine on this thing. It's going to be like the generic action game. And it turns out it's turn-based. It's got a lot of style, flair. The gameplay that's been released for this thing, I'm so in. I think this game should line up to be awesome. So I cannot wait to check this one out, get a deeper dive on it. It's the one I'm looking closest at. But that mysterious 4th game, legendary Japanese IP, speaking my language. So this should shape up to be a great developer direct. We do have South of Midnight as well. This one we've been gradually getting more and more gameplay on. I like the style of this game because it does remind me a lot of original Xbox exclusives. Like, I do think a bit of Voodoo Vince, that sort of strange, different 3D platformer style Xbox exclusive, where for me, as someone who grew up, like my first real console after the N64 was an Xbox, and these weird exclusives I was playing, like Oddworld Munch's Odyssey, again, Voodoo Vince, Blinks the Time Sweeper. To me, Xbox was the home of the unoriginal, really visually strange 3D platformers. And so, while I understand and see that South of Midnight is a controversial game for many online, for me, looking at it as someone who just like grew up with this type of game, I'm very interested to see what South of Midnight brings to the table and if it can really deliver. So I'll be watching that one closely as well. But it's shaping up to be a very interesting developer direct. Excited to see what Xbox puts out and if there's a mysterious 5th game at the end of all of this. But now it's time to speculate. Only a little bit of time left to go. Let me know your thoughts down below, ladies and gentlemen. Other than that, take excellent care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.